What?
Nothing.
You're staring at me.
Yeah.
Why?
You're more interesting than the movie.
But I'm not doing anything.
I know.
It's a little creepy, David.
Shh. We watched a movie today.
1313 UFO Invasion.
UFO Invasion.
Okay.
Where to start?
I hate this movie.
This fucking movie.
This is actually a movie I don't think it's been a movie since Cougar Cult that I literally hated in this series.
It hasn't been since Wicked Stepbrother for me, but yeah.
Wicked Stepbrother was a fucking endurance test, but Cougar Cult literally pushed the bounds of my hatred for this series.
That's how it was for Wicked Stepbrother for me. I just wanted something to happen at any given time, and this, it hit me right here because it did it again.
I seriously believe that at the very end of all of this, we need to make a video compiling what we literally think is the best and the worst of these movies.
We'll work it in with the last one.
I guess, yeah. At the very end of that, we should have an idea since we've watched all the ones on Instant. I mean, we haven't watched all of the films.
3 films are missing.
Yeah, and to be honest, we'll probably get to them eventually.
Eventually. You mind if I get the plot?
Go for it.
Okay, I took notes, bitch. I took notes.
You took notes. You took notes.
And I know exactly what the plot of this is. Okay, here we go. Seriously, I have no fucking idea what the fuck happened. There's
Aliens.
No, I'm not even sure.
Aliens.
Did they say that at one point?
I get what happened at the end.
I didn't.
Even though there was no cause for it.
I get what happened at the very, very end. Where
Yeah.
he's like, no, I'm not an alien, I'm a human. But I'm not even so sure they were aliens. No UFOs at all.
You just see a shot of the sky. And it's not even real sky, too. I think someone did it in MS Paint.
If it was alien invasion, okay, there's an alien, it's invaded. Cool. But UFO stands for unidentified flying object.
Just because they mention Roswell doesn't mean a jack shit about anything.
Okay, to give an actual plot to this film, a young guy moves into this house that this older woman is renting out because God knows Dakota can't stay away from MILFs. So she rents out the house to this guy and says, oh, but my office is the bedroom back there, so stay away from that. Just
I've noticed one particular thing about these movies.
Hold on, can I?
Yeah.
Okay. And then over the course of that day, he has like 7 friends just show up and have a party and jump in the pool and strip down to their tidy whities repeatedly, over and over. Sorry, Vietnam flashback. So, yeah.
Be like Bigfoot Island.
And then in the very end, after they've killed a bunch of killed or turned it. Did they ever flat out kill them? I know they made them like walk like zombies, but
they basically just drained them of their brains. So in really reality, like all like the things that they're taking from the neural synapses and all that jazz, I'm guessing they're basically making them brain dead.
Whatever. Point is,
I don't know. This movie's not that smart.
They walk away and then they are never seen again. That's the whole thing. And then the one guy ends up saying, like, they're inside me, don't go up there. And they go up there. And
I wanted like an alien to pop out of his stomach and whatnot. And then just
cool.
start singing Hello My Baby.
And then the one main character guy who's been absent the entirety of the film going to study some shit in Roswell and then voicing over saying, like, because anthropology and the stuff of extraterrestrials and interstellar travel... What the fuck?
I don't understand how... Yeah, he's anthropology. I don't understand how he could make... I mean, I can understand the correlation between, you know, exploring cultures, meeting new cultures and all that kind of stuff versus extraterrestrial versus Earth, but you know what? No, it doesn't work. Just because he says he went to Roswell, which, if you actually know anything about Roswell, New Mexico, you know the places that actually supposedly have the UFO crash site is a heavily guarded military base.
Oops.
This guy is just walking around a cave in the middle of the desert. I seriously think they're still in fucking California.
Of course they're still in California.
All this takes place in Malibu.
Why would Dakota go to anywhere besides his house in Canada or his house in Malibu? Anyway, and then it ends up that the one guy who's been absent the entirety of the film, he's an alien too, and the one woman...
Twist. M. Night Shyamalan didn't even see that shit coming.
They tried to restore his memories, but he wasn't having any of that because he thinks he's a human. And then
well, no, the thing is, like, apparently, like, he had, like, multiple lives, and, like, he lived various different different personalities and careers and whatnot in order to gather information on humans, and one more injection would turn him back to normal, and then he just takes a scalpel and stabs it right here, and then he slits his own throat.
And then they end up, killing themselves and each other. And then it just cuts to this shot of the sky and credits. I don't fucking care. Oh my god, that's the most moving I've done in like the past hour and a half.
This film really does test everything involving patience. And the funny thing is, though, when they're replaying... When, like, at the end, and she's explaining her plan and all that jazz, they replay everything out. Like,
okay, this is one
of everything. It's the same fucking scene.
This
over
is
and
one
over.
Of those ones where it's like they're bondage. They're tied to the bed again and again.
These are legit bondage things, too, by the way. These straps were made for bondage sex. Mm-hmm. I have a feeling that these are Dakota's personal bondage things.
So, they keep on showing that. Over and over and over again. Her walking them into the bedroom, laying them on the bed, tying them into the bed, waking them up, and them going...
Oh yeah, they start growling even though none of them either A, open their mouths, or B, are doing the actions required to the sounds that they're making. There's this one time where this guy's just tied up and it looks like he's getting fucking aroused. And it just keeps like pelvic thrusting and shit like that. I'm like... There's a difference from having your brain drained and having your brain fucking stimulated.
At the same time, it depends what areas of your brain to take out.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, when you take out shit, I seriously doubt you get aroused.
So, where to begin? Let's start with the acting of all the males. Nobody had a name. No, Sean was last film. Yeah, no, nobody had a name. I mean, I'm sure they had a name. Nobody had a name. Was anybody competent? Because I know one of them wasn't. I remember one of them definitely wasn't.
The actress...
No, I'm not talking about the actors. I just want the actors.
Oh, just the actors? Oh, God, no.
No, none of them were competent. There's one guy in particular, and I want to talk about him, because he's kind of the one who unravels the whole thing. Let it be said... For majority of the film, he's the douchebag you thought would be killed off first. Turns out he's killed off last. Kind of a bummer.
I know. I was like, oh, well.
But because he's killed off last, he gets the whole, like, villain monologue where he's like, well, since you're so curious, I suppose I can tell you. You see, my people came from blah, blah, blah. Shut the fuck up.
Blah, blah, blah. I'm a dirty tramp.
But,
which is probably not far from the truth.
Probably not. But overall, during his entire performance, like, his friend is comatose on a fucking lawn chair next to the pool. He loves his fucking pool, by the way.
Yeah, he loves his pool.
He's like,
he probably drinks the pool water.
Like, anytime a new piece of meat comes in the door, he's like, hey, if you don't hop in that pool, you're a douche. That's an actual line, by the way.
What's the other line?
I don't know.
They did it before.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They had the one guy, he's like, oh, well, I'm going to go change. He's like, just do it here, wimp.
You wimp. It was like... I don't know who like what people David Duchovny hangs out with who act like this. I mean, I would hate to be around these people.
I feel like it's like that one guy who just like says, "God, don't you just hate it when?" And then he says something completely unrelatable, and you're like, "That's not a thing." Nope, not everybody else does that. It's like, don't you just hate
There are different people in the world.
Don't you just hate it when you're choking on your toenails? Like,
I think that's an activity only shared by one. And actually, I think the interest in these movies are only shared by one.
Dakota.
The fucker who made it. I don't even think the actors would probably even put this on their resumes.
If it's like the only thing they did. Like the one actress that was in Bigfoot Island, we looked up her stuff because we were curious what else she's been in. Only like 9 roles. 2 of them were Dakota films.
I mean, a couple of them like TV shows and whatnot.
Yeah, right? She had Disney Channel as her most recent. So.
Which is not necessarily an achievement.
Anyway, let's talk about the actress.
I will say, though, it's definitely a step up from this trash.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking like anybody's a step up from this trash.
You could star as, like, someone who just gets run over by a car in some random scene at some show, and you'd be like, step up. Let's talk about
stellar shit right there.
Let's talk about the actress in this movie, though.
The actress.
There's one actress, Milfie.
She's one of the older actresses.
She's competent. I liked her. I mean, she wasn't great.
I mean, and also, of course, the lines are stilted and shit like that, but at the same time, like, she does what she can with the material.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we didn't look her up before we started the review, so, I mean, she could probably be one of the screen queens from back in the 80s, for that matter. I mean, considering the last time when we did Cougar Call, all 3 of them were screen queens, I mean, like, I just kind of got the impression that was the general.
But at the same time, those ones, they, as much as it sounds terrible, the Cougar Cult ones, not very attractive on their own.
No.
This lady,
as shallow as that might be,
yeah,
no.
This lady was still quite attractive. Like, I could actually see these guys would be interested in her.
Yeah, I can see to a degree.
Yeah.
A taste will definitely.
The Cougar Cult ladies, it's just like, ha, you can keep that. But this lady's like, oh, well, she's mildly attractive. I wouldn't, if we were the last 2 people on Earth, I wouldn't hate myself afterwards.
No. There's plenty of, I mean, yeah, I've had sex where I've hated myself. I was like, oh, that was such a bad choice. But I probably wouldn't think necessarily to that degree. But obviously, my tastes differ.
Yes. Anyway, but yeah, so she was very competent in saying the lines. The lines were shit. But she was competent in saying.
So shitty.
So let's go into writing then.
This script is one of the worst 1313 movies I have seen.
That was brilliant. That's the line delivery of the guy I hate. Yeah, no, it is honestly just fucking bullshit. Okay, the first thing. We've made a joke about it before. What was it, Pablo Francisco joke?
Yeah.
It's...
Alright, you know the Pablo Francisco joke where he's talking about Friday the 13th? And he's like...
Google it if you don't.
Alright, I want to tell you the whole joke.
Okay.
Just because, it's one of my favorite jokes and whatnot. And I'm not going to do all the voices because he's much better at it than me. But he's like, they're making another Friday the 13th movie? These kids love to die, don't they? I mean, you could strangle them with a cordless phone. So, you get some guy walking in and all of a sudden it's like, hello? Billy! I'm gonna get naked and take a shower. What's going on? And that's what all these people do, basically. If they get in the pool or if they get in the shower, I mean, like, yeah, the joke's over. But still, it's the same principle. And the thing is, though, I'm guessing because of the way that this is all set up, because these people are doing non-important things like bathing and boozing and
gym.
And gymming.
Gymming?
And what? Not just something. But
the first...
It's the setup of the 80s slasher films. Yeah. But the thing is, though, even from somebody who knows how to do an 80s slasher film...
It's poor.
You have lost all of what made 80s slasher films wonderfully, wonderfully bad. I mean, not all 80s slasher films are bad. I mean, I love, Nightmare on Elm Street. which is a little bit more on the supernatural side, but it's still a slasher film.
Well, all of these are on the supernatural
Yeah,
side,
but the thing is, though, and like, you know, me personally, I hate the Friday the 13th series and whatnot. I mean, it has some, but the thing is, it's not even necessarily horror films in general. It's not even slasher films. It's just the way that these movies are set up. I mean, they're all set up with a slasher film, the slasher film, formula. And it...
Where it's just like a bunch of people in a house, one by one, they all die.
We have seen the same movie 9 times.
We have.
We have seen the exact same movie 9 times.
The one thing I was going to say was, the fact with the Pablo Francisco joke is, virtually the first person you see. Somebody, before the main characters are even introduced. Before the guy who buys the house is introduced, before the woman is introduced, before anybody's introduced, there's this guy who walks in the house. Hello? 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 Walk into the main master bedroom. Hello? Hello? Oh my god, I'm tied to a bed!
How did this fucking happen? Whoa! Oh my god! No. Just no. I mean, I know by this point we have been the most repetitive assholes when talking about this movie.
Wait, not yet. They were all shirtless! Yeah, okay, now we are. Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, like, none of this movie has any basis in reality. I mean, the thing is, what makes a movie compelling is that there has got to be something of the film. Some little tiny aspect of the film that is grounded in reality, so not only do we have something to relate to, but also we can suspend our disbelief for the time being of the movie. But there's a problem. There is absolutely no disbelief to suspend on this one. I can tell from the very first frame that every solitary second of this movie is going to be artificial.
Yeah, no, that's basically it.
It meets... No, it either will meet our expectations or fall beneath our expectations with these films. The only time that ever exceeded our expectations was fucking Night of the Widow.
Still the best of the 1313, which isn't saying a lot.
It isn't saying anything,
but it's there. Okay. Writing, we covered that. Directing, we'll just cover as a whole, and then we finish the series. There isn't anything else to say. What about, shot why can't I say the word? Repetition. That one. Did they do that in this one?
This one, actually, I can't really say that they did repetitive shots.
There was the one time that there was a shower scene of the one guy I hate. I think they repeated a bunch of shots in that. Only because that scene went on far too fucking long. There must have been a repeat. Oh, and also when the first 3 boys jumped into the pool together.
That was they had lots of repeated shots in that sequence.
Yes, they did.
These movies are exhausting. And to be honest, actually, as much as I like to say my personal philosophy is that when people make films, the primary audience for the person making those films is themselves. I mean, like Quentin Tarantino says it, there's tons of filmmakers that say it, I personally say it. I mean, like, the main person who we make these films for is ourselves because we make films that we would want to see. But then I take a step back, I'm like, are these really the films that David Dakota likes to watch?
Yeah. Then again, I mean, you look at his entire filmography around, like, recently, you ignore the kids' films, it's basically all the exact same film again, they just dropped the 1313.
I mean... And the thing is, though, like, if he literally considers this one thing quality, that's really bizarre. But if he doesn't, then that really just proves how much of a lazy fucker this guy has become.
Because whether or not you are producing the films you want to see, it's like, what was the one we did? Sex Galaxy. Green
Galaxy,
Green film.
I don't know if we're going to return to that genre anytime soon.
But that was the whole... They were taking what little footage they had... and they made an entirely new film out of it.
Yeah.
Good. This guy is choosing to take from his limited pool and using repeated shots and the same angles and all this stuff.
I mean...
Do you know how many times I've seen in these films somebody walk past his bunch of sliding glass doors in a tracking shot and then enter the last door? How many times has he walked up that spiral staircase
We know the entire layout of this house.
How many times have they been tied to the master bedroom bed?
The only time I have ever thought that this house matched the movie at all was a talking cat.
Yeah, because it belonged to like some successful code programmer guy. In every other film,
and the other house was just a caterer and whatnot. It made more sense. So the thing is, though, a talking... Think about that. A talking cat, which was made after all of these movies, by the way.
Kids film.
Is not only a kid/family film, it's also the only movie we have seen from him using this house that actually is appropriately set. It might be fucking lazy still because it's his own goddamn houses, but at the same time, it's appropriate for the content.
Every other house either has it like somebody just inherited the house from some random person.
I mean, Wicked Stepbrother was the fact that this guy was inheriting the house.
Whether they got it from, like, they're just at a friend's house or whatever, or at somebody else's, or it belongs to the adult, like the renting out in this one. And in the adult ones, it's slightly more believable, but at that point, we still just have it burned into our heads of, like, this is David Dakota's house, I don't give a shit.
Like, think about this. The main character in this movie is an anthropology student.
Alien.
Well,
yes,
fuck the alien bit. The anthropology student is going there to work on a couple papers and all that kind of stuff, and he's there to rent the house.
Yes.
Now, unless this guy is like fucking set up from a trust fund or he has rich parents, how in the world could a student afford to rent a house like this? I mean, like, unless you're like...
Because he invites over his 35 friends all to die off one by one.
I mean, unless you're, unless you're, God, I can't remember his name. Unless you're, Eduardo Saverin, unless you're Eduardo Saverin, who likes meteorology and made $300,000 with doing oil futures in a summer social network, that, you know, I seriously doubt this guy could afford this. So that's the thing you have to understand. All right, I'm taking a step and I'm going into my movies here because, you know, I have to make some relation here. Any of you guys have seen my films at all? Think what you will of them, whatnot. They can be good, they can be bad, they can be horrible, whatever the fuck it is. You know, everyone has their own opinions, and obviously I know that they're all flawed because of whatever reason. But what I try to do is I try to make the setting in a believable environment. See, the thing is, one of my films, Suburban Children, is a satire on suburban teenagers because of the people I grew up with, so it is not supposed to be taken 100% seriously. But, at the same time, the houses that we use, the settings that we use, and the different types of people that we try to use are almost exactly how the people are in that environment. You know why? Because I fucking grew up around them. I know how to structure this. So the fact that David Dakota is he's trying to connect with people our age, for the most part, in the modern world is obviously disconnected because nothing what these people say, I believe. Nothing.
Jumping off of what you're saying there. Yeah, it's... How many people do you know? You. Personally you. That own a fucking mansion. Because don't get us wrong. We can hate on this house all we want. But it is basically a fucking mansion. It's really nice. How many people do you know that own a house that you would classify as mansion? David Dakota thinks... Everyone knows somebody. Everyone can relate to that one guy who owns the mansion.
Yeah.
Not a damn person. Maybe there's like 2 or 3 of you have that rich friend. Stop watching our videos and go mooch up to that friend.
I mean...
Oh my god.
I'm out of this shit.
Okay, well...
I mean...
Let me think through real quick. Yeah.
There are also worst, I mean, not the entire movie, but in this movie, there's a shot in this movie which is without a doubt the worst shot that we have seen in any of these films. Oh, yeah,
this guy, he pops into the house because just more meat, and he's told, go get in the pool. And so he...
Tidy Whitey's pool.
Yep. And then he jumps in, and then Dakota just stands there, handheld, just...
Zooms in, shaking and whatnot.
For like, I don't know, straight minute probably. And then he just cuts away, and I think the guy wanted a beer. Maybe that was earlier or later. I don't know. Point being, yeah, no, this one, I can see why it's towards the bottom of the barrel here. We have to do this, and I'm going to regret saying it. Name one thing you like.
Name one thing. Oh, yeah, and also I forgot one thing before we go into that. The ending theme sounds a little suspiciously similar to the ending theme of Pitch Black.
I personally think they're
a little similar, but that's literally the first thought that went into my mind when I listened to the score.
Leave it for you to judge. Just fast forward to the end. Don't watch any of it. Okay, one thing you like. Like I said, I think that the actress was competent.
Yeah.
I
think. I'm not sure of anything anymore.
The fact that there were no UFOs, the fact that none of the actors were good, the fact that... And I mean, okay, no, alright. I'm going to save it for my final thoughts. So I'm going to hold off on it. So, Matt, final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
This movie is taxing. This movie is taxing in every sense of the word. And... again, like Bigfoot Island, like I was half paying attention because only when like words were spoken, I knew the movie was moving forward at all. Again, like every other one of the 1313 movies, the movie does not shut up for a solitary second. There's always music playing. This guy doesn't understand the appreciation of, fucking silence. But besides that, I can't recommend this movie at all. And none of these movies I would ever recommend, but like if there was any movie that you would like, that I would say was the least painful that you would watch Night of the Widow. But if this was your first movie or your only movie watching the 1313 series, you would steer away from David Okoto's films permanently. You would never even approach any of his work, even his mildly competent work, like the ones that were back in the 80s and the early 90s. Not even close.
I like the way you worded that this film would make you permanently steer away from David Okoto. I feel like it's somewhat of a director's thing of never make a film that will make someone never want to watch another one of your films.
I mean,
at least let them. That's
happened with plenty of people who have seen a couple of my movies. Yeah, but
I feel like it's somewhat of a what a director should try to do is like at least make the film have some sort of redeeming quality.
There needs to be an empathetic quality to it.
Not negative across the board. Dakota's just not seeming to get that with half these films we're watching. As for my personal...
I will say, though, before you can finish up, to be fair, the majority of these films are now written by Dakota. They're written by very incompetent screenwriters who literally have written nothing more than the 1313 movies. Like, I haven't found anybody else who's written or co-written these movies with Dakota and who have, whose career has lived for another film. Yeah, you keep going.
Dang, I had something...
Sorry.
No, I had something before you even started your final thoughts, and I said I was going to say it, but I can't remember it. Anyway, yeah, goodbye.
Bye, it's gone.
What I would say about this film... in regards to the other 1313 films, it's definitely bottom of the barrel. In regards to films as a whole, holy shit.
It's down there.
How is film still going? You think they'd see this and say, well, we're done. That's it.
You hit rock bottom.
We cannot recover from this. Good job. You've doomed us.
David Dakota, you have killed the film. The film itself. The essence of filmmaking.
Google Bowl is just standing on a street corner now, punching people who ask him to.
Mr. Creepo is rolling around in his grave, or he better be.
Would I recommend this? Of course not.
Absolutely no.
There's not a single thing I would recommend about this film, not even laughably bad values. It's just terrible all around. So, yeah. We're getting there. How many films are left?
One.
Oh, that beautiful number.
Yeah.
That's it. I can do one. I can do one.
But
no, but I'm gonna revel in this. I'm gonna enjoy my time with just one.
It's actor/model.
You fucking whore. No, I can't fucking do that, man.
Yeah, you can.
Damn it, you're right, I can. Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Okay.